I feel like I'm always the one initiating plans, checking in, and making the effort in my relationship. Am I expecting too much, or is this a sign of imbalance? I really don't think this is something that makes your relationship good or bad. I think people are different.
I love my partner, but lately I feel lonely, even when we're together. Is this a rough patch, or is it a sign that we're growing apart? Maybe he's not as interested as he was before. Maybe he's become complacent.
I believe in therapy and self-growth, but my partner refuses to consider it. How can I help them see that therapy isn't about fixing problems, but about strengthening what we have? You both have to be willing to put in the effort, put in the work, put in the communication. Hi, everyone. I'm Cassandra Ritter, and this is Tasha Taremi. We are the Astro Divas with astrodipity.com. We are coming to you live today with our podcast. We're sorry about being late one day. I'm happy to see everybody. Hope you can join us, maybe comment. If you do recall, if you want any dating advice going forward, just email the Astro Divas at astrodipity.com. Don't forget to check out our dating app, which is compatibility through synastry. So go to astrodipity.com or astrodipity.ca. We are also in India, so that would be astrodipity.in. And then you can punch in your date of birth, time of birth, place of birth, and you'll get to see your chart, your rising sign, your moon sign, your Mars sign, and all of the above. On that note, we've had a tough week. We lost one of our partners with Astrodipity. That is Tom. So we are kind of mourning him. He was a great friend and a great business partner. He happened to, well, he's now with the Angels. That's what I'd like to say. So hi, Tom. And stay tuned for the rest of this podcast because Tasha is going to have some love guidance for you all. And now we're going to get into the emails that we've been receiving. Lots of emails from a lot of people. So I'll take the first one.
Okay.
So is this relationship one-sided? Dear Astro Divas, I feel like I'm always the one initiating plans, checking in, and making the effort in my relationship. My partner cares about me, but they rarely go out of their way to show it. Am I expecting too much, or is this a sign of imbalance? Well, maybe that's your character, first of all, to be the initiator. Maybe you're a fire sign. There's many reasons for that. I know a lot of people who don't like to initiate. Typically, one person is going to have strengths in one area as opposed to the other area. If you're the one always initiating the plans, my suggestion to you is to have a conversation with that person and tell your partner, tell them how you feel. Maybe it's just not the way they are and they don't typically, take the ball and run with it. That's what I personally think. I really don't think this is something that, makes your relationship good or bad. I think people are different. And to me, if you know that they care about you and they don't go out of their way to show it, they're probably not the kind of person who's flashy or bold or fiery in that sense. That's what I think. And I think the only way to resolve this is to have a conversation and be open about it. And you might see that it's nothing more than that's not who they are. And, they'll try and come up with a compromise.
Well, just want to add to that. I definitely feel like you need to have that conversation. But regardless of whether that's their makeup or it's your makeup, if you're not getting from a relationship what you feel is emotionally fulfilling you, then that needs to be addressed. No matter what, it's at the end of the day, if you don't feel happy, content, if they're not going out of their way to show you that they care about you, even though you know it, but how would you know it other than you can sense it? If they're not showing you, then you need to decide, is this relationship going to emotionally fulfill me moving down the road? Because if it's not now and you have that conversation and there's no change, then you need to address that for sure.
Right. And the only way you're going to know is by having a conversation and speaking your mind. Yep.
Exactly. So the next one is Is it normal to feel lonely in a relationship? Hi, Astro Divas. I love my partner, but lately I feel lonely, even when we're together. We don't have deep conversations like we used to, and I don't feel emotionally connected. Is this a rough patch, or is it a sign that we're growing apart? Well, definitely, again, the communication is definitely a key factor in finding out if you're on the same page. But if it's something that happened in the beginning and now has stopped, that would have me concerned that maybe he's not as interested as he was before, or maybe he's become complacent. It's just
Okay.
like an old married couple or something. And I would also recommend maybe try doing new things, new adventures, exciting things you could do together, and see if that brings it back. And if it doesn't, then it's definitely something you need to talk about.
I agree with that. But is it normal to feel lonely? No, it's not normal. However, um, sometimes you could be misreading or reading into it too much, and maybe something is going on with them, or maybe it's really nothing and things will change. If it's a long period of time, that's when I'd be concerned. And you've noticed like an absolute change, but they're just like business. Relationships are fluid, they go up and down, and people have to work things out, or sometimes someone just has something on their mind and you might be misreading it. But without communication, which is really important here,
Yeah.
you can't possibly know, and you do need to communicate. So the next one is, hello, Astro Divas. I believe in therapy and self growth, but my partner refuses to consider it, even when we hit major relationship struggles. How can I help them see that therapy isn't about fixing problems, but about strengthening what we have? Well, not everybody believes in therapy. That's true. I will give them that. I don't think you can convince someone to divulge your relationship problems to a third party if that's not what their belief system is. If it's not, I don't even think it's fair to push on someone if you believe that. Um, can you work it out without therapy? You both have to be willing to put in the effort, put in the work, put in the communication. I don't think you should be forcing someone into therapy, because, I just don't. However, you can explain why you believe that and how you think, and hopefully they're going to be attuned to that. And if they don't agree with that and you truly believe there are issues, then I think you need to consider maybe moving on from that relationship, even though it's not something that you may want. You can't force people to take the therapy route. You just can't. A lot of people don't believe in doing it. So it's not something that's right or wrong. It's a belief. So,
Well,
yeah.
I just think that I agree, she shouldn't try to force anyone to go to therapy. I think you should focus on going to therapy yourself, because
Yeah.
you learning how to problem solve and deal with situations, even your internal relationship struggles, it will help you how you respond in those times when you're having a conflict. And so, maybe he's able to work through things on his own, but it sounds like you need the therapy. So go, and it's
Yeah.
only going to help you to improve.
And,
So
and determine whether this is what you want.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
I
That's
agree.
that's a very good way to put it.
So I can't stop checking their social media. Okay, I constantly check my partner's social media, who they follow, what they like, and their activity. I know it's unhealthy, but I can't shake the anxiety. How do I stop obsessing and start trusting them more? This is an abandonment or rejection wound within you, your spirit. So you have this fear of being abandoned. So you are constantly checking your partner's site because you're so afraid that you will repeat history, because I guarantee somewhere in your past you had an abandonment wound. In order to address this, you need to address the healing of that wound, and it's going to help you. You know, you're going down a rabbit hole. It's gonna create more intrusive thoughts, obsessive thoughts, and it's not healthy. So focus on healing that wound.
Yeah, and my suggestion would be get rid of all social media. Get rid of it. Stop. Stop looking at social media at that point. If it's driving you crazy and it's something you can't stop, then delete the apps, delete them all. And you'll notice in time, you'll stop doing that because it's a mindset you have to change. I agree with Tasha 100% that, you've become insecure. And by the way, have the conversation with your partner. Um, there's a reason that besides the abandonment that you want to see what she's doing. Is she in your mind, you're wrapped up in your own head right now as to why or what she may be doing or he may be doing. Either way, whoever, whatever gender it is, it's gotten to you. And clearly you need to get off social media for a while because you're just, in the rabbit hole, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that would help you start the whole process of not needing to check and tell them how you feel. And hopefully they will have an answer that makes you feel more assured that everything's okay. And if not, well, then I would say trust your gut.
Well,
And
and take a step back and ask yourself, do I have a legit reason to question this person's loyalty, honesty, or integrity?
yeah,
Is anything that they are doing, or is this a trigger from my past that's
yeah,
that's taking me down this rabbit hole? And if
yeah,
so, don't allow yourself to fall into that trap.
right. That's why
Yeah.
social media can be so bad for relationships. It's
Right.
incredible. It really can
Yeah.
be. Yeah. I'm afraid to let myself fall in love. I always hold back in relationships because I'm afraid of getting hurt. Even when someone great comes along, I sabotage it by keeping my guard up. How can I learn to trust and truly let myself love without fear? Well, I think you're not the only person that feels that way. Like anything else, it is scary to get involved in something new. Everybody's afraid. We all have the same
Yeah.
fears and nervousness. But how do you allow yourself to let down your guard? Be patient, give it time. Don't rush anything. Let it take its course. And you'll start to feel more secure if it's the right relationship for you in the first place. All those fears will wash away and naturally, because you'll notice that if the person is the right person for you, they're supportive, reassuring, validating, all of the good things that you want and expect and hope for in a relationship. If they're not the right person for you, you're going to keep your guard up because something is telling you there's something wrong. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I think that you need to work on self-empowerment, learning to love yourself, feeling confident about who you are and what you bring to the table. And there's a really good YouTuber. He's a minister. His name, I believe, is RC Blake. And he has a video, a whole line. He's all about female empowerment. And he's a video out, if this is a woman we're talking to, how to be in the energy of a true queen. I would work on empowering yourself, loving yourself, knowing how amazing you are. And that's going to help you with that confidence, feeling good about what you bring to any relationship. So I feel like that's going to help with that fear,
Yep,
you know?
I agree. Self-love is important.
Yeah. So my friends don't like my partner is the next one. My friends have expressed concerns about my partner, saying they see red flags I might be ignoring. I love my partner, but now I'm questioning everything. Should I trust my instincts or listen to my friends? Your friends are not in the relationship. You are. If your intuition is telling you to give this person a chance, that everything is going fine, then you need to tell your friends politely to stay out of your business. Step out of the lane, you know? Three's a crowd. So they're not in the relationship. I would listen to yourself. That way you are the one accountable for the choices you make and not anyone else.
Nothing
all I
more
got
to
to say about that.
say. um, Dear Astro Divas, my partner hurt me in the past, and even though they've changed, I can't seem to fully forgive them. I want to move forward, but the memories linger. How do I let go of resentment and truly heal? Well, it's very, very easy. Don't expect to heal overnight. Nobody does. Healing takes time. And if you truly value the relationship and you've made the choice to move forward with this person for whatever they did in the first place, just give yourself the compassion that you would give someone else, and the patience and the time to heal, and don't expect it to happen overnight. It's a choice you made, and it's not a good one, it's not a bad one. It's your choice to own. And all you can do is give it time. That's my recommendation.
Well, the only thing I would add to that is when you forgive someone with love and compassion, you do that for yourself. You release yourself from the energetic attachment, the emotional attachment to that experience. When you hold on to the memory of what happened through anger, bitterness, or resentment, you are keeping yourself at a low vibration. You are also manifesting a repeat experience of that very thing that you don't ever want to happen again. So that's important for you to understand what resentment does for you energetically as a person and your relationship. So that's all I have to say about that.
I think, though, in this case, I think it's because they've made that choice to forgive and they want to move forward. I think just human nature is not to, their guard is up, and to take your guard down, I don't think it's as simple as just letting it go. I think it's good that they're not completely forgetting about it, and that only time heals wounds. That the expectation they are putting on themselves to just not hold on to resentment is just unfair to them, because really to heal things like that, it does take time. If you
It's
want your
definitely going to take time, but
yeah,
resentment is such a low vibration that she's going to keep herself perpetuating a repeat of the memory of that story, and it's going to continue. It's going to be a never ending loop of pain,
compassion,
and it does take time.
yeah, and compassion for yourself. Compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I know if it's real love? I've been in relationships where I thought I was in love, but looking back, I wonder if it was just an attachment or habit. How do you know the difference between deep love and just being comfortable with someone? I would say the equal energy exchange, love consists of respect, um, you know, caring about another, putting their needs, making their needs a priority. I feel like it's their actions and not necessarily their words that are going to show you, and it will be consistent. It's not short term. This is consistently who they are with you. That's my insight.
Consistency is always important. And I always say, even though we all feel it, that's going to be different for everybody, what your take on real love is. But that love is not a feeling, even though we feel it or we think we do. Love is a choice. And you don't know that you're truly madly in love with someone, until you choose to go through the ups and the downs together after the first few months. You
Right.
can't possibly know that, because you could be attached. It's really different for everybody. But like Tasha said, consistency, my gosh, it's everything. If that person is inconsistent, they're calling you one day, they don't talk to you for days, they just randomly go off with their friends, and it doesn't matter what gender, you're not that important to them. And unfortunately, you could be the one who's completely attached and, thinking they're amazing and thinking they're all into, but without consistency and then respect, like she said, all of that's super important. And you've got to wait the first 3 months. It
At
should be
least.
a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens when attraction fades? My partner is kind, loving, and supportive, but I've noticed that I'm no longer physically attracted to them. Does attraction come and go, or is this a sign that something is missing? Oops. Huh.
There's something missing there. There's really nothing else to say.
Yeah, you
Because the more you love someone, the more you're attracted to them, you know?
you would think. I'm not
You
sure.
would think.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would
But
think.
I
You're
would be
right.
concerned.
You're right. And you've got to work on getting something back, or at least attempt to, if you still still feel truly connected to them. You would think that you become more attracted to them, but I think all relationships, I'm not saying for everybody, but we all experience moments where you're just not attracted because you become comfortable or complacent. That's something you need to work on. But like Tasha said, you would think that you become more attracted to them.
The deeper the bond, because it's more of the internal than the
The
external,
deep love.
the attraction grows. And so when it doesn't grow, then it makes you think, is it surface level? Is it only lust?
Right.
And yeah,
Right. And
that's
like I think there's another way to know, not just based on whether you're attracted to someone or not, but when you can't explain why you love them, like you can't explain, your answer is not, oh, I love them because they make me feel good.
right.
When you don't know why you love them, you can give a huge list of all the great things and all the horrible things, but you still love them. That's when you love them, because
Yeah.
it's a deep soul connection. Yep.
So social media and relationship expectations. I see couples online and wonder why my relationship doesn't look like theirs. I know social media isn't real, but I still find myself comparing. How do I stop measuring my love life against unrealistic expectations? What is missing in your relationship that
Hmm.
you feel that you have to compare to others? Because if you're comparing, then who are you trying to appease? Social media or you? It's
Yep.
not a competition. You're not going to grow old with social media. They're not going to be there taking care of you and loving you. So you need to ask yourself, is this all about your fear of how other people judge you? That's kind of what I feel. The expectation that society has for you?
It's not the partner in this case. That's for sure. That's the
No,
problem. It's you.
no.
And like Tasha said, you're comparing your relationship. That in itself, that's you. This is on
Yeah,
you. You've got to figure this out because you shouldn't be. Why
no.
are you doing that? Yeah.
I feel like it has to do with judgment, the fear of judgment, and how society perceives their relationship. Then why are you in the relationship?
Why? Yeah.
Because if you're not in it for love, if you're not in it for the long term, you're just in it for how it appears, then that's very superficial, and you have no business being in a relationship.
Right.
That's harsh, I know, and I'm sorry,
No,
but that's how I feel.
it was right on the money. Yep.
Mm.
Um, Hi, Astro Divas. My partner wants to move in together, but I'm unsure if I'm ready. What are the signs that it's the right step? And I don't have the rest of it. I'm sorry. Would you happen to
And
have
what should we discuss before making the big decision?
Well, it's a risk that you should want to take, and just I would say go for it. When are you ready? Well, you could say, I'm not ready forever if you want, but don't you want to wake up next to your partner? Don't you want to grow things together?
Yeah.
This should be a good feeling. And how do you know? Well, the fact you're thinking about it, and nobody knows the future. We can't predict the future, but if you cherish this person and you love them and you want to wake up next to someone and have your coffee with them and things like that, then why not take the risk? I don't know. Tasha?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like moving in together is like an insurance policy.
Yeah.
You're moving
Great way
in
to say it.
before you commit forever to someone, and you are finding out, does he irritate you the way he brushes his teeth? Is he a slob? Does he annoy you? Does, you know what I mean? Or she, it's learning how to navigate life with someone and getting to know someone on an intimate level, living with them, and it's an assurance policy. Insurance. I
Yeah.
said assurance, but it's assurance too.
It's fantastic the way you said.
Yeah.
Besides, you
Yeah.
get to do all the you get to support one another, you get to help one another, you get to go through the good times and the bad times. That's a relationship.
That's how you know if you have a ride or die.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, Mark and I got together, we moved in, and I was in the hospital a couple times, and he stood by my side. That spoke volumes to me about the relationship and who he was as a person. Had
Yep.
we not been living together, who knows, how that would have played out. But I could see firsthand the commitment he had to me.
Commitment isn't just commitment, like Tasha, she just, sorry, you just made me think of something. But for anybody out there, commitment isn't about getting married or signing a piece of paper or any of that. Commitment is choosing to be the other person's ride or die if
Oh,
they need them.
devotion.
Devotion is everything.
Yeah.
So going back a little bit, consistency, devotion, loyalty, obviously, respect, that equals a really good relationship.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree. My partner and I have different sex drives. I have a much higher sex drive than my partner, and it's causing tension. I don't want to pressure them, but I also don't want to suppress my needs. How do couples navigate this kind of mismatch? There's so much more to a relationship than sexual intimacy. There's so much more. And I feel like, I don't know, I kind of get the feeling that this person here has some hidden things that they're trying to mask by way of their sex drive. I don't know why I feel that, but I do. But a beautiful relationship is not all about the sexual intimacy, it's about all parts. So
Yep.
if you're basing the relationship strictly on the sex drive, where is that going to lead you if you're a man and you're 75 and you potentially have ED? You know what I mean? Is
Good
that
point.
going to be a deal breaker because now you can't perform? No.
Good
So
point.
be open to the relationship in its entirety and don't base it solely on sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're not aligned. And like Tasha said, you probably, if this is who you are and this is what you think a relationship is, you've got a lot of growing up to do. But you can have different sex drives, I guess. But like Tasha just said, it's so much more. There's so much more to a relationship. Obviously, this is what's important to you. So
Yeah.
to me, it doesn't sound like you guys are aligned.
No.
Just doesn't. Um, uh, Dear Astro Divas, I always end up in relationships where the other person is distant or unwilling to commit. I know I deserve better, but I can't seem to break this pattern. What can I do to stop chasing unavailable love? Yeah,
Want me to go? I know
go.
the answer.
I know you do.
So you keep repeating the same cycle because you failed to learn the lesson. The lesson that you're meant to learn here is the value you hold within yourself. So you are attracting people that are unavailable, people that don't want to commit, because you don't know how amazing and powerful you are. If you knew how valuable you were, you wouldn't be chasing anyone for first off, you'd be attracting. Your energy would be so high that you would emanate, that you're an amazing person. You're an amazing catch. You wouldn't have to chase anyone. They would be attracted to you. They would come running to you. So I feel like you're going to continue to repeat this cycle until you take your power back. You learn that you hold the power within you, and you learn your value. Yeah.
Point blank.
Yeah, that's it. So the next one is, should I stay in a relationship if the spark is gone? I care about my partner deeply, but something feels missing. We get along well, but the person isn't there like it used to be. I guess the passion isn't there like it used to be. Can chemistry be rebuilt, or is it time to let go? Again, I don't understand. It's like either your relationship was based on lower nature, or I don't understand. How do you lose passion? Because to me, when you meet someone and you fall in love with them, you grow with them and you find new things to love about them. And it's more of a spiritual love than an external. And this feels based on external. There's no internal. There's no soul connection here. There's no growing. So it feels like a false connection built on chemistry. So that's what it feels like to me.
Not to mention the email. Not to mention they're emailing us. So is it time to let it go? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I agree.
After everything you just said and the email, there's your answer. Mine's cut off again. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Fear of a healthy relationship. For the first time, I'm dating someone who's kind, stable, and truly good for me. But instead of feeling happy, I find myself pushing them away. Why am I afraid of a good thing? And how do I stop sabotaging myself? It's simple. This is a wound that you've experienced in the past. So you close off your heart out of fear of being hurt again. The only way to stop sabotaging yourself is to address this issue, whether it's you doing self-help videos, reading books, going to therapy. You have to process a wound from the past so that you're not in this constant state of fear of it recurring again.
Right. Agreed. 100%. Dear Astro Divas, we have completely different personalities. One of us is outgoing, the other quiet. One is emotional, the other logical. We love each other, but sometimes it feels like we're speaking different languages. Can opposites truly work long term? Well, I've always said, yes, you can. And you fell for each other for a reason. And all relationships, every single relationship out there, I honestly believe 100% that if you are too much alike, that you're bound to go off and look for something that's a little bit more challenging or that triggers you to grow and things like that. I think opposites can do very well. Of course, if you're opposite in your beliefs and your morals and your goals, then you're going to experience problems. But this one, you guys, you just have to come to a little bit of a compromise sometimes and let the other person be. Because what happens when you have someone who is opposite you is you bring balance to one another. So if you are more of a chatter and the other person's more quiet, you tend to balance each other out. That's usually what should happen. So I always say opposites make great combinations and can be a great fit. If you're too much alike, you're going to have more issues, or you'll get bored or complacent. So yeah, you can work long term. That's my belief.
Well, I would say change your perspective on it.
Yeah.
So if you have someone directly opposite you, they are helping you to change your view, see the world in a different light, maybe even challenging you to grow and evolve in certain areas that you never even expected. So when you look at the yin and the yang emblem, it's reversed, but it fits perfect. It fits perfect. So look at this as an opportunity to grow, evolve, and to see the world through a different set of eyes.
Well said.
Yeah. So the next one is, I want to get married and they don't.
Uh-oh.
I know I want marriage in my future, but my partner doesn't believe in it. We have a strong relationship, but this feels like a fundamental difference. Is it possible to find common ground, or are we wasting time? If you want to be married and the person that you're with does not want to be married, I wouldn't be sticking around waiting for someone to change their mind. You know what your goal is, you know what your desires are. And if you're with someone that does not align with that, then you have to make the decision. Are you willing to lower your standard and just be in a relationship?
That'll
Because that is lowering your standard, and that's up to you. I wouldn't, but that's up to you.
nothing
Yeah.
else to say.
Yeah.
Why do I feel guilty for taking space? Hi, girls. I love my partner, but I crave alone time. Whenever I take space, I feel guilty, like I'm neglecting them. How do I explain that needing time alone doesn't mean I love them any less? Well, exactly that. You explain that you just need time and that's who you are and that's part of your makeup. And that you love them completely. I think just explaining that and expressing that in a loving way should be all you need to do because a lot of us are like that. And it comes and goes. It's not every day. And sometimes we need more space than others. But if this is something that's in your makeup, I think just expressing that should be enough. And I think it's important that you do because sometimes people misread the way you're reacting or the way you are, and nobody can read minds. So expressing that is very important. It's very important.
Yeah. On the very negative side of that, if someone's trying to make you feel guilty for spending time alone, that's a control tactic that I do not like and I do not agree with. Stand your ground, set your boundaries, have an honest, loving conversation. If this is someone that is putting a guilt trip on you for needing personal time, that's a control tactic, and I would kick them to the curb. They'd be gone.
Yeah.
That's
No, I
that's the
don't.
negative spin on it. That's the
Yeah,
negative spin on it. I just
yeah.
want to throw it all out there just in case.
Oh my gosh. Of course, the next one is. No, hang on. Um, Hi, girls. My partner is great, but I sometimes wonder if I'm settling. I don't want to be unrealistic, but I also don't want to ignore my gut feeling. How do I know if I'm staying for the right reasons? I wish I had more information on this.
Right.
It's too vague, I think.
Yeah, it is too vague.
Yeah.
Why do you think you're settling? What is it about this person that, because if you, I think you're settling due to worldly things, materialism or that type of stuff, how much they make, what car they drive,
Yeah.
that's one thing. If it's characteristics, like they're not loving, they're not kind, they're not open, they're not showing through actions that they care about you, then yeah, that's settling. So we can't even answer this because there's
Yeah.
not enough information. Yeah. Is love supposed to be this hard? I always hear that love takes work, but should it feel exhausting? My partner and I argue often, and even though we love each other, I wonder if love should feel easier. How do I know when it's worth fighting for? You should not be arguing with anyone all the time. Look at a relationship with a friend. If you are constantly arguing with a friend, you would say, oh, I can't be around that person. They drive me crazy. So, why would you think it's healthy for you to be arguing with the person that's meant to spend the rest of their life with you? If it's constant arguing, this is misaligned. The energy is not matched. This person sounds like a karmic to you, someone you're meant to learn a lesson from and nothing more. That's my opinion.
Totally right.
Yeah.
Dear Astro Divas, every time I get into a relationship, I find myself changing my interests, my priorities, even my personality. I want to be close to my partner, but I don't want to lose my own identity in the process. How do I stay true to myself while still being a great partner? I just want to say that a lot of people do this. I definitely am one to do this. I don't think there's any statement or correct way to be. Just don't lose yourself. I don't think it's simple like that. I think it depends on who you are as a person and how sometimes you can get lost in the fantasy or who they are. I think everybody loves differently. There is no correct way to love or be loved. And I think in this case, I love the feeling of losing myself. I just think it needs to be reciprocated. When the correct thing that you would find on posts and psychology and this and that is never lose yourself and keep yourself. Well, I can also pick that apart and say, you know what, if you don't, the deepest, closest relationships are those that you lose yourself, not your identity, not the happy person you are when you're alone, not that person, but when you lose yourself to the point where you love doing the things they do and you love just being around them and your perspectives have changed because you've lost yourself, as long as it's healthy and reciprocated, I think that's wonderful. And there's no stronger love. And I can attest to that. I really can attest to that. And most people I know will say, and it's a way to say it, that they lose themselves in relationships. But at the same time, my friends that are in these kind of relationships, it's reciprocated. And they will tell you straight up that, you know, we've both lost ourselves in each other. And I think it's beautiful when I hear that. So I don't want to be one of those, I don't want to be a philosophical person who is saying, no, but you just can't and be strict like that. I think there's a beautiful part that a lot of people don't get to experience. And that's when you've completely lost yourself and you're just enamored within that person. But if it's, as long as it's both ways, I think there's no, like it's not based on attraction. It's not based on anything, but you just have such a deep spiritual connection, which is so rare. And when it gets to the point of being spiritual, usually you've lost yourself in that person. And I'm not talking about losing yourself in the parts where you're smart or you can't function without them. No, you've just lost yourself in the sense that, you know, things that used to matter don't matter to you anymore. And you love doing everything. That person's become your best friend. That person's become the person you admire and inspire. And you both inspire each other and you both make each other better. And that's what I mean by that.
I think it's a great thing to have new interests when you meet someone and you have a strong attraction. It's a great relationship and they introduce you to things that you find that you love. Which is good. The only downside or the negative would be is if you are pretending to be someone you're not to please another person. That would be the issue. So if you maintain your true identity, who you are, your authentic self, but you are growing and evolving and you are learning to love new things, new interests because of who you're with, there is no problem with that. That's not toxic at all.
No.
Yeah.
But don't ever change because you're doing it for
someone else, to please someone else.
Yeah. No, it should be a natural feeling.
Yeah.
Hi, Astro Divas. I'm in my late 20s, focused on building my career and enjoying life. But my partner, who's a bit older, is ready to settle down and start a family. We love each other, but I'm afraid our different life stages will eventually pull us apart. Can our relationships survive when people are on completely different timelines? Well, I only have one thing to say about it. It can survive, but I don't think it's likely. That's what I have to say.
Well, I don't feel like she has the same interests, that she doesn't want to settle down right now. She doesn't want to have children right now. And so I feel like she views the age difference as the issue. And so she's already had her mind made up, it sounds like.
Yeah.
She wants to stay young longer.
Yeah, true.
So whatever. I mean, that's personal preference.
Yeah, but be fair to the other person, right? Yeah.
Set him free. The next one is, why do I feel jealous when my partner succeeds? I hate admitting this, but sometimes I feel jealous when my partner achieves something great, whether it's a promotion, personal milestone, or recognition. It's not that I don't want them to succeed, but I feel like I'm falling behind. Is this normal? How do I turn jealousy into something healthier? I don't understand that. I'm not a jealous person, so I don't understand how could you be jealous of the one you love? Because to me, two parts, when two people come together, it makes a whole. So your partner's promotions or celebrations should be yours. That's so
Yeah.
I can't view it in any other way. I just can't. It's competition. You're putting yourself in competition with the one person you love that is supposed to
You're
be
competing with them.
a part of your soul.
That's a
Yeah.
good point. You're competing
Yeah.
with them. That's why you're
Yeah.
jealous, because you're competing. Why
Yeah.
would you compete with someone you love and want the best for? And this
It's
should
a part of you.
it's a part of you. It's you
Yeah.
guys together. Yeah, exactly. Good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. Um, okay, we've had so many of these. Dear Astro Divas, I'm deeply into astrology, spirituality, and personal growth, but my partner is a skeptic and doesn't take it seriously. Oh, I'm sorry. They don't judge me, but I can tell they don't really understand or engage with this part of my life. Can a relationship work when something so important to me is just whatever to them? Yeah, it can absolutely work. I don't think there's anything wrong with your partner not agreeing or feeling it, being into the whole astrology thing. I know a lot of people who aren't into it. I know a lot of people who roll their eyes at it. But I mean, that's not um it, I could say you might not be aligned here, but I don't think it's a cause for fighting or arguing or not getting along. That's not what you're saying here. You're saying they don't judge you. If they don't judge you, can you be okay with that? Because if it's like politics. It's almost the same thing. Dependent, of course, how deep you are into all of this stuff. I think you would do much better with someone who is spiritual, who is all about personal growth. I think that would make you much more fulfilled, um, because then you'd have someone to share these things with. However, if it's not causing arguments or anything like that, then I would suggest you find a friend who is into it, and you can share that with a friend or your girlfriends, your guy friends, whoever. Um, but that's only a decision you can make. They're not judging you for it. So,
Right. I agree with all you said. I mean, it's better if you have someone that can align with your beliefs. But as long as there's not an issue there, and who's to say that he won't one day or she won't one day, be more open? They're just not ready right now.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So the next one is, how do you handle breakup regret? I was the one who ended my last relationship, and at the time I felt it was the right decision. But now months later, I can't shake the feeling that I made a mistake. How do you tell the difference between genuine regret and just missing someone because they're familiar? Well, sometimes when you make the decision to end a relationship, you forget why you ended it. And so you sometimes become lonely, or you miss that person and you forget all the reasons why you felt it wasn't a good fit. So I think reflecting on why the relationship ended, why you didn't think it was a good fit, would be an important reality check.
Right.
That's all I really have to say about that.
No, I agree with everything you said, but I think there's another side to it, that sometimes people do break up and end relationships only to come back together much stronger. Um, I have so many stories that I'd love to throw out there for even marriages I've heard of. I have neighbors actually that went through this, that they broke up for years and came back together and stayed together. Like I mean, everybody does sometimes make the wrong choice or the wrong decision. It's not not heard of. I mean, sometimes you might think this isn't working out for me, and maybe it's because of you, and maybe you were going through personal things or didn't understand things. Maybe it had nothing to do with them, and you guys just needed to pull it together. And sometimes that's the case as well. And that's why I believe that second chances or second possibilities are beautiful if they're not due to, toxic behavior, cheating, or anything like that. Why not? I think true love is always people who never give up on one another. I do think a lot of people break up only to come back together, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. That's what I
I
think.
agree. No, I agree.
Dear Astro Divas, hang on, I'm sorry, I'm lost here. When there's an issue, I like to talk it out right away, but my partner needs space and avoids confrontation. Uh-oh. It makes me feel ignored and then feel overwhelmed. How do couples find balance when they have completely different communication styles? Yep. Not an easy task, but happens to the best of us. A lot of relationships have different communication styles, and I think compromise is always the answer. And sometimes you might, have more disagreements or arguments over a period of time and come through it. If you can withstand it and discuss it and really try that, this, you can work through this. And if you can't, and it just becomes too much and you end up arguing and fighting over it, because that person takes space and you just want it resolved right away, which is typical of an earth sign, by the way. Well, then you won't work out in the long run. But communication styles are very, very important. And if there's enough love and respect for one another, you can get through this. You just have to really compromise. You do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's learning how people deal with issues and
Yeah.
figuring them out and navigating through that person's ability to adapt or whatever they do when it comes to an argument. You're learning how to navigate a relationship based on their emotional level. And
Right.
yeah, so
That-
it's
yeah.
just
Can you
learning.
adapt? Can you adapt to the other person? Can you? Yep.
Yeah. So the next one is, am I dating someone out of guilt? I started dating someone who treats me amazingly, but deep down, I don't think I feel the same way they do. I keep telling myself to give it more time, but I worry I'm just staying because I don't want to hurt them. How do I know when to let go? And even if they've done nothing wrong, you need to let this person go and stop dragging it out, because the more you extend the time where you already know deep down that you don't feel the same about this person, you are just causing them further pain. And it's nothing against you. It's just, it is what it is. You don't feel attached to this person. There's not a connection. You need to set them free. You set them free soon, immediately.
Yeah. It's not fair. It's really not fair.
Yeah.
Hello, Astro Divas. Whenever we argue, I always end up apologizing first, even when I know I'm not entirely wrong. My partner avoids taking accountability, and I don't know how to make them see how important an apology is to me. How do I handle this without feeling like I'm always the one who has to fix things? Well, I just want to say that could be your nature, by the way, and it might not be theirs. There's always the yin and the yang, and everybody's different. But I do suggest having a conversation. I mean, I definitely in my lifetime enjoy saying I'm wrong and I'm sorry with a friend, a family member, it doesn't matter. When I'm wrong, because it makes me feel good. I'm doing it for me, not just for the other person, but I like to take accountability. Not everybody's mature in that respect. Some people just don't even understand it. They weren't raised like that. Some people weren't raised being taught how to apologize. I can't fault everybody for going through this. I'm not going to judge people like that, because everybody is different. And I keep having to say that there is nobody's, a bad person because they're not like this. Some people just don't know how to do that. So have a conversation with her, him, whoever. But that might be your character, to be the one who fixes things, and they might be the opposite of you. And you see that in lots of relationships. It doesn't mean there's a breakdown. It means you might be the stronger one, more masculine one, more, inclined to resolve things, and they're a bit more passive. And this is human nature. So
Yeah.
I don't think, I'm not going to judge them and put them down for it, because I think people are different. And the only thing you can do is try and talk about it and say, hey, I think you're the one at fault. But if you're playing the fault game in the first place, and what you care about is an apology over everything, then that's a problem to me. That is wrong.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
the resolution is more important than the apology.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the next one is, what happens when love isn't enough? I love my partner deeply, but when I think about the future, I don't see us together long term. Our values, goals, and lifestyles just don't align. I'm torn between staying in the moment or leaving before it becomes even harder. How do you know when it's time to walk away, even if the love is still there? I would say the time was 15 minutes ago when you were writing the email,
Me too. Me too.
because you
How do
already have in your
you see
mind
them long
it's not
term?
working.
How do
Yeah,
you?
it's not going to work. So she's already decided, or he has already decided, whichever it is, that they don't want, this is not their future. So basically you're going through the motion and you're laying a groundwork that's built on a false foundation. So you've already predicted, what do they call that? Not self-sabotage, it is self-sabotage, but it's, you've predetermined the death of the relationship. So you
And
manifested it.
and don't say I love my partner deeply. That's not love, by the way. No,
No,
you're attached, codependent, whatever you want to call it,
no,
but that's not love.
no, it's not love. That's
Yeah,
not love. That's a waste of time.
a waste of time. Yeah,
Brutal, but true. Yeah.
brutal, but true.
Yeah.
So now going on to Tasha's love guidance.
Let's see what's coming in love. What's coming in for the viewers for love? Wow. So for some of you, you went through a very painful situation. You were abandoned or rejected by someone that was brutish. This is someone that was a bully. But good news is it taught you a valuable lesson. And by going through this experience and learning what you needed to learn, there's a passionate new beginning that's coming in. It's an exciting new beginning. Someone that will be perfectly aligned. Yeah, because this person will be committed and devoted to you. This will be a ride or die. This will be someone that's very loyal. You don't have to worry about this person's intentions. Wow, they're a true emperor. True emperor, whether it's a man or a woman, we all have masculine and feminine energy, but this is a true divine partner that's coming in that will be a ride or die. Look at this. Wow and wow. This is someone that is going to give equally to who? Their empress. Emperor, empress, high level divine union. I am in shock. That is amazing. This is someone that is meant with the Three of Pentacles to work with you, co-create with you, build with you. It's beautiful. Let's go on this stuff and see. What does the viewers need to know about love? It's all about love. What's coming in love? Okay. Yeah. You deserve love. You are lovable. Understand that. You are valuable. It starts with loving yourself. You cannot attract someone that will love you if you don't love yourself first, but you deserve love. They want you to stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. Walking around every day saying, I will never find love. It's been 2 years. You are only perpetuating the same energy of never finding love. How about saying, I have the love of my life. This person is amazing. Trust that what you want wants you. It is already on its way to you. Romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. Release your ex. For those of you that are still having text conversations, phone conversations, emails with someone that is an X, they're an X for a reason. Release them to create energetic space for the new love that's coming in that will be perfectly aligned, which we already saw. Emperor and Empress energy. Are you kidding me? Yeah, your ex is unrequited love. You were carrying the weight of the relationship. They were breadcrumbing, and you were taking that responsibility, carrying the load, doing all the work. You have a past life relationship that's coming in. That's true love, beautiful love, certain love, agape love. So it's new. It's not old. For those of you that are out there saying, oh, maybe it's my ex. No, it's not. It's new love. That's what I got for you guys. That was amazing. I'm excited.
I love your readings. I love your readings. Well, thank you very much, Tasha. And until next week, we look forward to having your love guidance all the time. And once again, I want to thank everybody, and hopefully this month is a great month for everybody. Don't forget to send us your emails. And if you want to be a guest on our show, reach out to Astrodivas at astrodipity.com. And we will see you next week. Bye for now from Cass.
Bye.